Now, I'm really confused because I was told that William Saliba and others, of course, would only sign their new contracts if we won stuff. So what on earth has happened here? Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys and girls for another episode of what is the Arsenal News Show special, an episode where I'm joined by a fantastic guest. I'm very happy to be joined by the Arsenal Vision's very own Paul. How you doing, mate? You good, you well?
I'm doing great, thanks. And a obligatory woohoo!
Indeed, absolutely. I'm saying indeed. Of course, I'm already going into my Vision prerogatives as well. But how are you, sir? Are you good?
Doing great. I've done our podcast a little earlier today, so I've had my warm up, my training session. I've got all Clive's thoughts in my head, all Elliot's thoughts in my head, which is not necessarily the best thing. I'll try to steer towards the Clive material. It was good. It was very good.
It was good. I look forward to listening to it very, very soon. Of course, you can check out Paul, Elliot, Clive, and the gang, of course, Tim included, on the Arsenal Vision podcast. So make sure that you are subscribed and watching if you're not already. I'm assuming that was a free episode, not one of the major Patreon episodes that makes Elliot loads of money, right? Was that
that was a free one. For paying Patreons, we have Friday Night Clive tomorrow, and we're announcing a new one that comes straight after that because I didn't have enough content, called Paint Me Like One of Your French Ladies with me, Elliot.
Lovely stuff. Look forward to that.
One of those two things is true.
Indeed. Big news, Paul. Yeah. William Saliba has signed a brand new contract. Tell me your reaction, just the raw reactions, if you like, to this story.
Yeah, I woke up to that and I was, what's the word the young people use? They use a lot of words. Stoked.
Oh, I was in Stoke yesterday.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone. There's so many places we could go with that other than Stoke. Look, I think it's huge. We were talking about it today. So, like, the three most important, ambitious, targeted players at Arsenal would probably be Saliba, Saka, and Rice. And certainly Saliba. We know that he's on the radar for Real Madrid. We know that, two terrible things. They wanted him, and they would want him to run down his contract to zero, right? And whip him away. And here he is. He's signing up for a 5-year deal with us. As I understand, this is your area of expertise, Tom. What's actually? Do you want to state what the contract terms?
Yes, yeah. So obviously, David Ornstein broke this story. Brilliant scoop, has been the case all summer with David. And as soon as it did drop, I was sitting at Stoke-on-Trent station and frantically making some phone calls to get this all double sourced and stuff. And very quickly, thankfully, it was quite quick that I managed to do it, that got it through. And we put it out on Football.London and the Mirror as well. And yes, it's a 5-year deal that is set to be agreed. Of course, the last deal he signed back in 2023 was a 4-year deal. Andrea Berta is 1-year contract better than Edu Gaspar. It's what we've learned from this, is that's what he's worth. He's worth an extra year of a contract over a new sporting director. But
I mean, it's amazing, right? I mean, it's amazing for all sorts of reasons, but you would have thought that it would have gone the other way around, that the previous contract would be the one that Saliba was more comfortable going 5 years for, and then 4 for this one. So it's tempting to keep your options open. Of course, they always have options, but it's a heck of a statement. And maybe it's a statement of how well and how firmly Arsenal committed. Like, he wasn't just looking at the deal. Like, he's going to want to see the plan. Where are we going with all this? He's never going to be in a stronger position. And I think the fact that he's gone for a 5-year deal, taking him to 2030. I mean, that's the best years of his life at Arsenal, right? From a football standpoint. I mean, to be fair, you, I, Clive, Elliot, Tim are giving the best years of our life to Arsenal, but like, it's a little more when it's William Saliba. To give the next 4 or 5 years to Arsenal is a heck of a statement. I love the reporting from Hand of Ozil that Saliba and Gabriel were talking over the summer about how they wanted to kind of lean into Arsenal and win things and stay with the project and sign up for the project. If that isn't the most beautiful love story I can think of, I love Gabriel Magalhaes, love William Saliba. The fact that the two of them, you build a team on that platform, that spine, Declan Rice, Saka, Odegaard. Odegaard will remind us soon enough when he's back to his best. Timber, White, Calafiori, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Nwaneri, all signing up for the project. Nwaneri committing to it when, again, he's got to see his way through to this. Such a promising career. He's got to see his way through to it. And you see our young fella, Max Dowman, beginning to get minutes. Like, you start seeing the broader vision, and it's got layers, and it's nicely sliced over time. It's balanced now. We're still a very young team, but with experience, and our young players have got loads of experience at the top levels. So, I thought it was huge. I didn't expect it. I'll be honest. I'm not saying I thought he would, but I thought it was just going to drag on forever, and it'd be a saga, and that maybe we'd get there. I think it's phenomenal and a ringing endorsement. And, it gives Arteta another 5 years to learn to coach and attack. Boo-boo. I'm joking. I love Arteta.
Look, I think that clearly they do as well, the players. And that was kind of the narrative. Exactly. And if anyone's kind of looked at the inflammatory thumbnail that I've put on this, not just because it's a YouTube show and every YouTube show needs to have an inflammatory thumbnail in 2025, but it is more so around kind of this narrative that was stoked up, I think, mainly by probably Arteta's critics, that was kind of around the idea that, if Arteta doesn't win something soon, if we don't win something soon, the likes of Saliba, Gabriel, Saka, etc., are they going to want to sign new contracts? Are they going to want to stay at a club that's not competing? Well, I think, as I wrote in the piece I put out earlier on today on Football London, I think the tagline was very much of a case is when are people going to stop listening to these scaremongers and start looking at the evidence in front of us, which is the people that are actually involved in the club, the people that are playing for this manager under this current regime. They're signing on, they're committing, they're staying, they're being at this club for a reason. It's not just to pick up the paycheck, because they could pick up that paycheck and go to a club like Real Madrid, as William Saliba very comfortably could have chosen to do, and definitely been, let's be honest, in La Liga, being Real Madrid, you are more likely to lift a trophy than you are as Arsenal are in the Premier League, because the Premier League is far more competitive for Arsenal than La Liga is for Real Madrid, and the Copa del Rey, of course, as well. So he's made this decision. Sorry, go on. Yeah, go on.
They still got it, right? I mean, you say what you like about Real Madrid. They are the apex club if you're a global player, right? If you're from France, if you're from Brazil, Real Madrid is what you grow up looking to, right? And I remember when, I think it was one of his first interviews Gabriel Magalhaes did joining the club, he talked about, he almost said the word stepping stone, but he didn't. He talked about Real Madrid, his career, where he's going. He's super excited about coming to Arsenal. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I noted that one for the few. And their heads are just totally turned around by the project, by what they've become part of, by what they look. It's not just the project, it's what they themselves, those two guys, are building at Arsenal. And you can't just assume you're going to get that somewhere else. You go for the big move, and you're going to have, it's almost perfect for them. It's almost their team, their club. You can't sleep on it. But they are co-architects in the project going forward, as long as they maintain their levels and their partnership. They are co-architect. There's way more fulfillment in being the architect of the future success than joining in on the Danny Ceballos. I like Danny Ceballos. I have a shirt from his, right? He's one end of the spectrum, right? He's got medals for stuff, but it don't feel like when you are a co-architect of the project and the success. So I
think Marco Arnautovic has a Champions League medal, Paul. So it's these types of things that you don't want to be.
I'm going to check my cupboard. Maybe I picked one up along the way. I don't know. Maybe the Danny Ceballos shirt gets me in there.
You don't want to be Ashley Cole in a Roma squad photo, where you're kind of lingering on the end. You don't want to be that in your career. You want to be a protagonist. You want to be the main character and
You do.
in success. And that is what Saliba and Gabriel and everybody that signed on. Arsenal this summer, despite not lifting that Premier League trophy that they so coveted last season, of course, and came very close to even more so the season before, the likes of Eberechi Eze, Victor Gyökeres, and of course Martin Zubimendi could have gone to other clubs, certainly. And there were other clubs interested. Even before last summer, the clubs that we've, Kai Havertz, when he signed for Arsenal, there was big rumours about Real Madrid and Bayern Munich at that stage when he was leaving Chelsea too. Players are joining Arsenal because they look at that project and think, not only can I play, which is important, but more importantly, that they feel that they can win things with this Arsenal team. And what have you made around the discourse, Paul, of kind of like, particularly kind of how Arteta is discussed in the sense of, I look at it and I think it's a really kind of reductive binary way of looking at football, of going, if he doesn't win this, this must happen this season, and he's got this year to do this. And if this doesn't happen, this happens. What's your take on the whole kind of way in which Arsenal and particularly Arteta is perceived in that kind of consensus?
Yeah, I guess it's not too... Look, fans' passion, obsession with the team, with the game, with the sport is what drives... Like, it's not rational. We're not rational people. I think, I made the joke about giving the best years of our life. Like, fans spend way too much time supporting the team. Like, we're all crazy. We're all nuts. Of course. So we're not rational. We don't like it when we lose. We don't like it when we feel insecure because the position of the team this season isn't quite yet where we expect it to be. The play isn't quite yet where we wanted, expect it to be. I mean, we definitely have significant levels to go up in the attacking end of the pitch. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to have the back end of the pitch, the defense and the kind of the lower midfield all sorted. And like, we have the best defense in the pitch in the league. I think we've a super secure midfield, double pivot, or however you want to describe it. And we just need the players back, fit, stable, and available so they can build patterns up the top of the pitch. But until you have that, and until you start getting that extra bit in, our results aren't bad so far, but they're not good. They're not where we want them to be, right? We should have beaten City. We should have drawn with Liverpool at a minimum. We should be flowing around the attacking end, and we're not. So I totally get it. I'm a little older, a little wiser. I've seen it all before, Tom. But yeah, I totally get why people are wound up, and like, you shouldn't overdo it. You shouldn't over-index it. But then if we were all rational, the club wouldn't have any money. The Premier League wouldn't have any money because people go and do with their time. They'd feed their wife and 3 children. They'd work on their resume, even though they have a job, and they'd continue to be worrying about advancement of their careers rather than William Saliba's. So I get it. We're nuts.
Yeah, I love this comment as well from Logical Nonsense, which actually is quite a great name for someone who's leaving such a comment. He says, fan is short for fanatic. By definition, we're a bit loco, which I kind of like that comment. Yayo in the chat says, Saliba signing should tell the fans to stop complaining, support Arsenal completely, come to the end of the season. We can celebrate or call for change to former, hopefully, but let's get behind the team. I love this from Gunners as well. He said, rivals want Arteta out, but they don't want Arsenal to hire a Flick or an Enrique. Just listen to their options for who to replace Arteta. I mean, it's interesting. I always find when rival fans discuss Arsenal, because what I notice is if rival fans are trying to do everything within their power to convince another fan base that they should get rid of their manager, it's usually because that manager's doing a pretty decent job and they don't want them doing that decent job at that club. And I always tend to find that to be the case when I'm talking to either Man United fans or Chelsea fans or Liverpool fans, because thankfully I try not to speak to City or Spurs supporters, particularly those clubs around me. I always find like, I think Arteta's got to win something. He's got to do something this season, or he's got to go. Surely he's going to have to go. Paul, they want him gone. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. And look, there's merits to all of it. Arteta does need to win something. He does need to win something this season.
100%.
But I will judge him this season, even if he doesn't win, on like, how did we carry ourselves? How did our season go? Did he get the most out of what this team he has built and the club is like? If we don't win something, I'll look at it and say, well, how did he perform? Because there are things just quite simply outside of your control. I mean, last season was completely outside of our control. Let's start the season with like 97 red cards in 4 games and see how you like that, Arsenal. The Greek gods slaughtering our players, our beloved new signings, our players who've never been injured for us, all like lining them up, lopping their heads off. And it's like, okay, Arsenal, what do you got this season? Like you got to take context. So does Arteta need to win something? Yes. Does he need to win something this season? Yes. But you still got to measure him based on the context. If things generally go for us and we're not even close, that's really, really bad. If things don't go for us, but we're close and we don't win something, you got to take all, like, don't replace a manager who's really, really good to go back in the market. Have you seen this? The can I say shit show? The shit.
Yeah, sure.
If I say it kind of low under shit show that's out there in terms of
it, Paul.
yeah. I
killed him quietly. Does that still count?
Yeah, but if you see the turnaround in managers out there, and we've been through that before. There's, the other side of the ledger is don't be rushing back out there to see who Unai Emery 2.0 or 3.0 is, when you've got an absolutely top manager, and the canaries in the coal mine are the players, and they're all signing up. The best players around are signing up for Mikel Arteta and the project. Believe, trust, patience, not what we're famous for. We're also famous for wanting to win things. That's the whole North Star of this sport. So I totally get it from fans who are like, we have to win. You measure a club. Arteta measures by winning too. He's going to measure his career at Arsenal, and all those players are by what they won. So, yep.
I love that canary in the coal mine analogy. I think that's perfect, because the players are exactly that. And I think you can get a sense of whether you're in the right spot or not by the decisions made by the players who are being managed by that individual. And the fact that they want to commit, of course, to this project and to this process is very telling indeed. I want to get your thoughts just briefly on, you kind of alluded to the Liverpool and the Manchester City games and where Arsenal are at the moment. Just listeners, so you're aware, will probably be around for just 10 plus minutes. I'm on a tight schedule today already. It's kind of been a mad one.
Well, we don't want to hold you up, Tom. We know you're very busy.
But tell me, Paul, the City and the Liverpool game, I tell you what, I've really gone through different stages almost of grief, I feel like, after these games, where I've gone from immediate panic and frustration and anger to somewhat even a level of understanding almost around what we did or tried to do. And I almost think that these games are being overanalyzed almost at this point. What have you made of them?
So, I think the Liverpool one's really easy for me. I think we played the team we should play for that game. It was a game that came too early in the season, right? Which is interesting, because probably I would have said around the time we're playing this Man City game last weekend was a little fairer time to start to measure us. But we're still, classically, missing a couple of players, or players are still bedding in or coming into the team. But, with each game, each round that comes by, you can make less and less allowance for that. With the Liverpool setup, look, we played really well against Liverpool. You might have wanted more attacking sauce, but I don't think we had a lot more sauce in the bottle, right? You turn, those ketchup bottles, you turn them upside down, and it's like there's not that much left, and you leave them on the head, on the lid, till enough gathers in the bottom of it. That was the Liverpool game. We played Merino in between the lines in the attacking end of midfield because we had to. And we played him out of position, mostly on the right, trying to do an Odegaard kind of thing. And yet the team, we had players who hadn't bedded in, players who hadn't played with each other. Noni Madueke had a really good game, I thought, but it was an individualistic game. Gyökeres, him, the connection, Merino, they've never really played in that formation with each other. guess what? The attacking end of the pitch, we struggled a little bit more. But it was a really good performance. We went to Anfield, and in the first half in particular, I think many people agreed around the consensus we should have made the changes earlier. We had Sauce off the bench. We should have got it off the bench on 60 minutes. We should have responded to their changes, right?
Yeah.
When they brought on their between the lines player, we didn't react to it. We reacted after they scored their goal. So, I love Mikel Arteta. I'm a big backer of him. Sometimes he gets stuff wrong. And I thought that was one where he moved too late. City, another interesting game. Tactical. Spoiled for Mikel Arteta by them getting it. I mean, it was a great goal by them. It was absolute class talent from Haaland. It may pain us to say it, but Haaland, the quick ball to Reinders, and the power and pace in which Haaland drove from midfield. It was almost over at that point. It's like, uh-oh. And these things happen in football, especially when you push up and play a high line. So we didn't really... I thought we were playing pretty well and we were getting into it. We didn't see the game Mikel Arteta wanted to play, and he didn't really have the team for being one goal down on the pitch at that point. And he made his changes at halftime. We responded, and, it took a moment of brilliance from them to get the goal. It took a moment of brilliance from us to find a goal with a Manchester City playing a 5-4-1 or a 5-5 against us. I mean, that's incredible how far we've come that Pep leaned into it, but if I told you that we would be the guys balling it and they'd be the guys sitting in, apparently they've been working on Arteta style out of play formations. They're learning from us. That's how things have changed. So, but still, we need to take it up a level in the attacking third. We all know that. Arteta knows that he's brought in players that can do it. They need time together. They need the opportunity. They need fitness. We'll get there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the hand that we've been dealt at the start of this season, I think, is one of the biggest factors to why we're perhaps not performing in an offensive sense in the way that we would perhaps be liking to see the team. And it would have been nice to build up to the Anfield game rather than it being chucked at us this early in the season. And the same with the City game, arguably the same with the Old Trafford game, ironically. But thankfully, we managed to come away with a victory in that on the opening day. Arsenal now, after this Newcastle game, have a real good run of very winnable fixtures through till November, when we've got the North London derby on the 22nd or 23rd, I think it is, of November. So I think these next 2 months, which annoyingly is the period that Noni Madueke is going to be out missing for us. But we've got Bukayo Saka back, of course. There's hope that others will be building the way back in, like Bukayo Saka too. So we have the depth, we have the quality. Max is obviously going to get a lot more exposure, I think, with Noni out as well, which is going to be good to see. But overall, I feel as though, like, my reflection on the Man City game and particularly kind of the Liverpool game as well, that the elephant in the room, or rather the elephant that wasn't in the room for me, is Martin Odegaard in those games. Because while there's this perception that I think Arteta went too cautious with the selection of Merino, for some in both, certainly for me in the City game, less so in the Liverpool game, as you pointed out, Paul, as well. But the elephant that's not in the room is Odegaard. And I feel that the point that kind of disproves this element of Arteta's always too cautious, or he keeps the handbrake on, is we all know if Odegaard was fit, he starts both of those games. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. An attack-minded player that, yes, offers press-resistant traits and does do work in the defensive third as well, but is a far more offensive-minded player than who is still an attacking player in my mind in Merino. But he offers a lot more than he does in those attacking areas. So it's not like if Odegaard was fit, Merino would play anyway. He wouldn't. Odegaard would be in. And I think that element is kind of the missing piece of the conversation when it comes to the whole handbrake thing in those games. Go on, Paul.
Yes. Yeah, spot on. And the other thing we didn't have at that point is I don't think he was even in the City game. I don't think he was quite there yet with Eze to start. And you need that sauce on the pitch somewhere. If you don't have Odegaard, you need Eze. You need those players that can create between the lines and have their midfield looking backwards, their head spinning about where is this guy? Where is he popping into? Where is he? Where is he now? And like the City goal, where we couldn't quite crack them, is a moment of brilliance from Eze, who picks up the ball, sees that Martinelli run, the classic running in behind, and spots it immediately and hits the perfect ball. And you want those, it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, but for us. And you need that player on the pitch. And if it isn't Odegaard in good form, by the way, not just Odegaard barely back with 4 injections in his arm. You need Odegaard in form. If you don't have him, we got to get Eze to where we're comfortable enough that he can do all the jobs, because you can't have him on the pitch if he doesn't know our out of possession game, and if he hasn't learned the intensity with which you have to chase down players, press as a unit, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted him to start against City, but I get why you wouldn't. If you're Arteta, you still thought the game was going to play out. Look how the goal comes about for them, right? It's a breakdown in our play, and they play through our midfield. Even without Eze on the pitch, that's what they can do to you. So I understand why he was cautious in the first half. In the second half, they were sitting deep, so we went for it. And you brought on Eze. It's an easy. You can say, "Oh, why didn't he do that from the start?" Well, things don't actually play out the way you expect them to as a manager. So I kind of understand how he was in that position.
Just 2 other things as well. The irony was, of course, that we conceded from arguably not being cautious and got caught. So that's the irony of their goal. And secondly, as well, if you think Arteta's cautious, have a look where Calafiori plays most of his game, because that's not a cautious left back being operated in, certainly not that kind of way. But yeah, it leaves Arsenal obviously now going to Newcastle, Paul, with the irony of Odegaard might not be fit. Are we going to see that midfield 3 again? We talked about how it was maybe an appropriate 11 to deal with the game at Anfield, and maybe not so appropriate against Manchester City at home. With how physical a team and how much we've battled with Newcastle in the past, how much of an argument is there that if we do see that midfield 3 that not many people do want to see, there is actually, again, reason behind that selection?
Yeah, no, I think there's very good reason why you play that midfield against Newcastle. You don't want to lean into a battle. That's what they want. But you also got to be able to handle their physicality and play ball. I still think you need Eze on the pitch somewhere.
Yeah.
So maybe you have him off the wing.
Off the left.
You need Sauce on the pitch. Or it might feel a little bit Man City-like in terms of what we're up against. So it's tough for the manager. I understand why you go with a strong, muscular midfield. I mean, Marino can play some ball, right? And he seems like there's different kinds of physical profiles. It feels like it takes him a lot of games to get up to full speed. Yeah. I still think he's getting there. It's like, it's kind of his speed. It's not that he's not physical or athletic. He has aspects of that. It's his speed across the ground in midfield. He tends to kind of run himself into trouble and can't play himself out of it. He got swallowed up by 3 players against Man City, where he kind of walked himself into it, going back towards goal. He's still getting his physicality up. If he can get that up a little higher, then maybe we'll see the best out of him. I prefer to see him as a left 8, not a right 8, and not the onus on him from the creativity standpoint. But if I'm Arteta, I don't think Nwaneri is the guy I start this game in midfield with. So, choice number 1, Odegaard. Choice number 2, probably Marino with Eze and bringing some floating in between the pockets from the left-hand wing, stepping in, Gyökeres peeling out left, Eze coming inside him, rotation, movement, Declan Rice getting forward, Calafiori and Rice alternating who's in that spot, some good movement, some good interchange on the left-hand side. Don't leave it on Marino to be the creative hub of the team. And, the other interesting dynamic is it'd be Marino and Saka on that side of the pitch. And, Marino's got a clever pass, but they'd have to develop a relationship they don't have at the moment. So who'd be a manager, I would say, Tom?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that if it is that 11, my heart won't sink as much as it did when I saw it in the other 2 games, because I think there is definitely an argument more so for it. But it's still going to be one that I think will cause debate if Arsenal don't end up winning that game and they start that midfield 3, certainly. But if they do play that midfield 3 and win, there might be some even more interesting discussions that come from it if that's the case.
But if we can keep it level, right? Like, I don't want us to play for a draw, but if we can keep it level and win it with our bench, we've got a stronger bench than them, and we can win this game as we could Man City or Liverpool. We could have, those could have been games where we win it from 65, 70 minutes onwards, and that's okay. Hasn't been how those two have played out. It's going to be a tough game there, but you can play a game that makes sense, that is not defensive or conservative. It's just, you don't go all out, you don't lead with your chin, right?
Yeah.
And all three games are ones where you don't necessarily lead with your chin. So,
yeah. Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up and have a chat. And are you going to be heading over to the UK anytime soon, or is it going to be an end of season affair again?
I'm looking at my plans at the moment. I don't have a plan yet to get over, but I am looking forward to getting across during the season. Yeah, would love to get over there. You coming this way anytime soon, Tom?
I really want to, and I obviously haven't been to Chicago since that. What was it, 22-3 or 23-4?
Did you have one? Get one of the? Didn't you earn one of these?
I do have one of those shirts. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do have a Gooner Palooza shirt, and it's rather tight. It's definitely a diet-inducing T-shirt. I'd say that. I don't know. Much looser on you compared to me, but it was a
just
great time.
Don't eat as much, Tom. That's what I do. Don't eat as much. Don't drink as much.
It's so enlightening, Paul. You're full of these amazing bits of advice. If it's so easy,
run around a bit more.
It's the plan. I've done a lot of walking in Stoke the last 2 days, so hopefully that's burned a fair few calories. But Paul, tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Not much. Still on the Twitters, believe it or not, and Arsenal Vision podcast is where you find me. That's what I'll be doing.
There you go. New episode is incoming, if not already, if not imminent.
Be out there.
So
we got one loaded in the pipes. Yep.
There you go. Go and check it out. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Those that are live with us in the chat box. Those, of course, that are catching up on Catch Up on all audio platforms, of course, as well. It might have been uploaded a little bit later for audio platforms because, as I say, I'm shooting around. So it might be up later this evening. But it will be here on YouTube. But you only know that if you're listening. So it's a little bit of a redundant warning for you. But I appreciate you listening anyway. Do drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. You can follow Poz on Twitter at Poznan in my pants. You can follow myself at Tom Canton Media. That's correct, right? It is Poznan in my pants.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure. And of course, myself at Tom Canton Media. There's some pieces out. If you want to go and buy a copy of the Mirror today, there's a piece, of course, in there from yesterday's game at Port Vale. And Mikel Arteta's press conference, of course, is tomorrow. We'll be going over all of that in Saturday's show, but we're talking more about Saliba's contract renewal in tomorrow morning's 8 a.m. episode. Stay safe, stay well, stay happy and respectful. And as always, up the Arsenal.